like sticking it in your own backyard.
Oh, you
right?
betcha. There's nothing like your own backyard. Take a look at our little tomato right here. These are some sweet 100s. I'm going to have you go ahead and fertilize this guy with a little bit of liquid seaweed.
Okay, perfect. We're in the garden with the perfect garden guy,
You
right?
betcha.
Woo,
Let's
this thing
just
is
go
heavy.
ahead. Yeah, just go ahead and pour it over the top of the leaves. We do this early in the morning, late in the evening. That's liquid seaweed. It helps harden off your plant material. Any type of plant material that you have in your garden, if you go ahead and foliar feed, this is one of the best ways to do it. We put it in hose and sprayers. We put it in, well, just jugs and just pour it over the plant material. Again, late in the evening, early in the morning, best time to do it. And again, it helps harden off that plant material. At the bottom of this, you can see a lot of mulch. In fact, you can see a ledge of mulch. These are just basically native tree trimmings that are all around the ledge. That root system is going up in there, grabbing all those microorganisms and all that microbiotic activity that is so healthy for our soil, and going organic is the best way to really make that plant material real heat stress. The other thing, of course, is deep watering. And we're kind of watering just now. When you're watering something like a tomato plant here, normally you want about 1 to 2 foot of depth of water penetration. This takes a long time, up to 24 to 48 hours sometimes to soak it in. A lot of times our drip systems don't do that. In fact, if you don't leave them on long enough, you are not going to get what we call deep watering. Let's see how deep we got. There's a foot of water that actually penetrated in this plant this morning. I went in and filled it up. So we just need a little bit more water. That's going to penetrate, and that's going to basically, well, push those salts out of the soil and out of the water supply itself. And getting those salts away from that root system is really going to help out that plant material. So there you go. Something like, oh, there's one that's about 2 foot deep, just a little bit different. So make sure you water evenly, all the way around the plant material and right at the drip line of the plant itself. It's very important. And speaking of plants, well, we want to talk about our queen palms up here.
Gorgeous.
This is something, for the desert. And what happens is typically we'll start seeing these queen palms starting to dissipate a little bit, and we want to go ahead and treat them with a little bit of Dr. Bob's or a manganese type of fertilizer. And that manganese is really important to healthy queen palm growth out here, as for that matter, for any type of palm growth out here. And of course, our tomatoes are coming in, and tomatoes are real important that you get a little bit of calcium on them. In fact, right down here, Mario, you can take a look at it. But a lot of our tomato foods now contain calcium and mycorrhizae. Calcium basically is real important because it avoids what we call blossom end rot. Let me just show you what this is. Folks, if you don't have this on your tomatoes and you're not fertilizing with calcium, I actually took this off somebody else's tomato, not mine, and you can go ahead and,
no, not yours.
Never. But there they are right back there. You can take a look at our tomatoes, protect them from that birds or those different types of birds. They have a tendency to attack you, a lot of your tomatoes. The other thing you got attacking your tomatoes is a lot of different types of caterpillars. For that matter, a lot of our caterpillars are out and active right now. We use what is called trichogramma. These are small parasitic wasp eggs, and you can see this. And we just go ahead and hang basically these little tags throughout the garden. This naturally gets rid of them without having to utilize any type of pesticides. Real easy to use. We call these beneficial insects releases.
But like, how many of these little tags would you have to put on like this one tomato
Just
plant?
one. That's all you need. In fact, that little tag will probably take care of this whole area, or at least 100 square feet. And it's not going to be a problem. And they have a tendency to be a little transitory. So these little parasitic wasps, they're microscopic. They're not going to hurt you, but they parasitize those different types of caterpillars that you see throughout the garden. Something else I put out in the garden? Well, of course, praying mantis. Let me just borrow your hand there. This is an asp. This is the egg sac of a praying mantis. There's about 200 small praying mantis in there. So we'll go ahead and put those in the crotches of trees away from the ants. And it's a real good way to get rid of insects, again, naturally without having to use any type of pesticides. There's a lot of other ones. There's beneficial insects. There's whitefly parasites. There's everything that you can imagine that will go ahead and parasitize insects out in your garden and do it naturally with another type of insect. And they're not going to hurt you. We call these beneficial insects.
But would you use these in conjunction with one another, or you would just use one or another?
Depending on what type of pest you've got. So say you've got a lot of whiteflies out there, we'd use an Incarcia formosa, which is this one right here, whitefly parasite. And it's similar. It's on a card, just like you're looking at there, with a lot of eggs on it. They hatch out, they go around, and they parasitize the scale of the whitefly itself. So it's real important to get out there and, of course, start fertilizing all that plant material.